So this is a very short chapter. Okay. So we are come to 12th chapter. It's Bhakti Yoga. It's on devotional service. Okay. So let's pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnanakashalakaya Chakshumitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Takta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Shatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So let us have a quick recap of what we did yesterday. Okay, so Krishna request, Arjuna requests Krishna to show his universal form. That was the Vishwarupa, right? Dashtam Ichchami Te Rupa. Lord Krishna describes his universal form, says that nobody has seen this universal form, Vishwarupa, and you are the first person to see it. And he understands the reason why Arjuna is asking. And also he wants to establish a criteria so that no one can just claim that they are also God. Okay. And whatever he is told, the philosophy, the theory and all that, he wants to establish that in reality. And so Arjuna could see, and he was to be given us divine vision to see the cosmic form. So Virata form. Then when the Krishna's experiences are described here, and then he asked Krishna, Arjuna's experience we see, and then we ask Krishna, actually, what is your mission? Because it was such a wonderful vision. Plus, he could see the demigods also seeing that from other planets are also viewing it, and they're also showing fear in their eyes. Then he could also, when Sanjay also saw, and even the demons in the lower planets, they were quite scared and they were running here and there. And you could see all the warriors going into the mouth of the Krishna. So he's asked, who are you? Actually, what is the thing? Then Krishna replies that I am Kalosmi. That is, he is the Kala, time of destruction. So he annihilates, creates, maintains them, and annihilates them. So it's the thing. So he is the Kalosmi, and everything goes as per his plan. In fact, he has got all the warriors, everybody on the battlefield, and in these 18 days, he has reduced their lifespan, and they all will be annihilated. So it's all his plan, and he says, you just be a Nimitra Mata. You're just an instrument in this thing. And then Arjuna gives a beautiful praise, saying, yes, I accept everything. You are the Supreme Personality of God. So then Krishna says, this you can't visualize this through studying Veda scriptures and doing charity or the penance. It's only through pure bhakti. So only pure bhakti is needed to see Krishna. So now what he's going to say in this, we can just see. Devotional service. So this section, and now Krishna is talking because he showed his form. No, now Arjuna is having some query. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yukta ye bhakta stvam pariyupasate Ya chapi aksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more fair? Those who are properly engaged in a devotional service or those who worship the impersonal Brahman and manifested. That is the Brahma Jyoti. That means you visualize the Lord as the energy, as a Brahma Jyoti, just influence and try to meditate on that. Is that better, or to engage in your personal form? So, which is this? Because why is this question coming him is, he is actually Arjuna is asking because for him it is Krishna's as a friend. No? He wants to see all the time meditate on the form of Krishna, and he wants to get it confirmed, which is better. Okay. There are two kinds of transcendental spiritualists. No? Some like to focus on the personal form, that they are the Vaishnavas, and they are attached to the Archa Vigraha, whereas impersonalists, they are attached to the power, that energy. Okay. So now Arjuna wants to get clarified. So this whole of Bhagavad Gita, you see, is like a dialogue. There are certain confusion in Arjuna, then Krishna is explaining, and certain things he elaborates more Krishna so that there will be more understanding. And every step, we see it goes logically, it goes from chapter to chapter, right? So now he's asking about which one is better, whether it was, because we saw the huge form, the cosmic form, and some will get so impressed by that, they would like to meditate on that. So he is asking now, and that form is actually temporary. Only when the material world is manifested, Krishna's that Virat form will be there. Otherwise, it's not there. So he's asking which is better, which Rupa is best. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Vesha Mano Ema Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Paryopetaste Ma Yukta Tama Mattaha. So what does Krishna say now? See, first thing itself, the minute there's any question, he gives of the clarity, clear answer. The blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be the most perfect. So straight away he gives the answer. There's no dilly-dallying. He clearly tells that my personal form is the best. You should engage in worshipping me with faith, transcendental, and is considered it to the most perfect. Then he will continue to say, he's very emphatic in this. But those who worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve. So how do these impersonalist form do? They have to unmanifested form means they will focus by controlling their various senses, right? And they will equally dispose to everyone, and they will engage in the welfare of all. And at last, so there's a lot of things they have to understand. They have to understand the beyond the absolute truth, whose the energy is there, and all it is pervading, inconceivable, fixed, and immovable. So he has to learn all that through the Vedas and through the scriptures and everything. And then once he is understanding the impersonal conception, then he will start meditating by controlling his senses and all that. So they will come, but it takes a lot of steps. But the one which is talking about the personal form, where the Vaishnavas who they take to Archa Vigraha, like, idol worship, that is temple worship. They start off with that. That's the first step, beginner step. And you might ask why people, they will always say idol worship is not, they are very skeptical about it. But here Krishna says it, and the Prabhupada also gives a nice analogy in the purport in Bhagavad Gita. He says it's like the mailbox. You see, when you have a mailbox authorized by the state government, then what do? One goes and posts the letters there. So then the postman will come, collect all these letters, and he will send it to the respective destination. So you go and post it, and you know that it goes to your friend or to whomever you're sending it to, you will be confident it will reach. But will you go and put it in a box which is not authorized? Maybe looking like red and all that, when they look at similar, but it may not be authorized. So same way, this idol worship is the thing you, these idols are established by, deities are established by bona fide masters. There you go and focus on that and worship the Lord, because they have been invited. Lord has been invited to reside in these deities. Okay, so it might be of wood, or it could be a metal, or anything, whatever stone. So it depends. So it is there. So it is easy for, because we are so used to being in this body form, So it is easy to relate. As I said last night, that sambandha, has to be established. Like you have to have a connection to the Lord. So through the deities, you need to have a connection. Then you start focusing on the Lord and worshipping Him and everything. In fact, that is why Prabhupada, wherever he went, he established temples and also established deities, and he taught all the followers how to do the deity worship. Even today, at every ISKCON temple, it is the same. At 4:30, there will be a Guru Puja, then there will be Nasimha Arti, then Tulasi Puja. Then after that would be the Japama. Then they start their meditation. Then again at 8 o'clock, they'll do the Bhoga, and they will do Guru Puja and do the Naivedya and all. So all that, the rituals, he has established it, and they follow it rigorously, diligently in all the things. So why they say is so that you can focus on it. Whereas to just think that you are going to focus on some light, on some energy and all that, you might sleep off, or it will take lot of effort. So he says it's very difficult. Klesha, for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So he says it's not that you cannot progress there, but you can, but it is slow and it is troublesome. Okay, and it is difficult, and there's always a risk of fall down. You may not have progressed much. So this is a lot of troubles, and it depends on our effort, how determined we are, and how we can control the senses and all that. It is so much effort has to be put on ourselves. So, etu sarvani karmani mayi sannyasa matparaha anyannaiva yogena mam dhyananta upasati. Tesham aham samudartha mrityu samsara sagara. That is, mrityu samsara sagara bhavami na chirat patha maya aveshita chetasa. So now you see here Krishna is lifting the devotee from the ocean. So here he says, one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, was fixed his mind upon me, O son of Pritha. For him I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So he clearly says that he is the one who can lift him up from the ocean of birth and death. So it's only by pure devotion. Whereas the impersonalist form, that trying to meditate the Lord on his energy, on the Brahma Jyoti, it takes a lot of effort and it is difficult. But the people who do and the devotional things, he himself will come and swiftly deliver you from this ocean of this. So now he is telling us, in these things, he is telling us how we can, by living in this body itself, human body, how we can reach him, how we can go to his abode. So these are the things we need to, activities which we need to do even in this body. Then you can go back, because he will deliver us from this. So he takes charge. That's what he says here. I take the charge for the pure devotees. Maya eva mana adhatva, maya buddhim niveshaya, nivashishasi maya eva Atha urdhvam na samshaya. Na samshaya means don't doubt. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of God, and engage all your intelligence me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. So that is Anyanya. Now he says very clearly that you fix a mind, and he's keep repeating it. See that we are seeing the last 6 chapters when it's all about bhakti. He's describing what a pure bhakti is. What is that? What do you mean by devotion, service, right? And what you have to do, and you have to. So it's very clear in it. And just fix your mind upon me and engage all the intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. So there is you don't need to have any doubt. He himself is giving you the guarantee. Okay, you will live in me always. So that is known as Ananya Bhakti. But it is difficult. It's not that easy to read. Now you might say how one can be all the time thinking. There are examples like, and practically if you see, a mother will always be thinking of the baby, isn't it? And if the minute the baby might be somewhere playing, but the minute if she sees a cloth of him or a socks of him or a dress of him, it really immediately her mind will go towards a baby, isn't it? Whether I've eaten, whether I've given it food, what I should do, what I prepare. So fixing upon someone you love is easy, isn't it? So that's the same way fixing your mind. That means it has to develop. You have to cultivate this love for the Lord. That will come slowly because there's so much of anarthas in us, misgivings that which you have been from the past lives and all that. So that has to go, and that is the thing. So, but this is the highest level we have to reach. That is the Ananya Bhakti. But Krishna is very adjusting. We know it is very difficult to reach this, but we think we are adjusting to Krishna, but that's not so. Krishna also does adjusting. What does he say? The next verse, he says, Bhakti is safest and surest because instead of going for impersonalists, that is very, no doubt about it. Now that state, to reach that state is difficult. So you see how Krishna is magnanimous. Atha chittam samadautam na saknoshi mayi stiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichaptum dhananjaya. Oh my dear Arjuna, oh winner of it, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain. See now how accommodating Krishna is. He says, I know it's difficult to fix your mind all the time. So you can start your thing by regulated principles. That is, you take up the associate with devotees and accept a spiritual master and follow the regulated principles he gives. And slowly, step by step, you will be able to develop a desire to come to him. So he says, so this is known as sadhana bhakti. So, like, it's like, he compares it. When you say regulative principles, it's like getting up early, attend Mangalati, chant your 16 rounds on your beach every day, offer food for Krishna, then do the kirtan, then you take the prasad. Whatever the your master says, Acharya says, you just follow it. Like, even if you want to drive a car, don't you go to a training school and try to learn all the rules. Even if you're driving in the city, you will follow certain rules and regulations given by the state. So in anything, as regulated principles are there, which we have to follow. Not that you will fix up your own form as your wish. It's not there. So we have to start learning and the adjustments and all that. Similarly, by practicing this bhakti, you will surely reach to the top level. So now he says the top list we know where we have to go, right? Now, if you cannot, I know it's difficult. So you start off by following the regulated principles by an acharya in the Bhakti Yoga principle. So that way you will slowly develop a desire to come to him. Okay. Now, what is he saying next? So practice of something which is inherent. Actually, this is, we say, no, it is not. It is there in us, but it is dormant. We don't know that it is there, but once you start doing it, you realize it is something in your nature itself. Abhyasa api asamartosi mat karma paramo bhava mad attam api karmani kurvan siddhim apavapsi. What does he say? If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So then what is to be given? If it is not, now you can't, you know the rules are there and everything and all that, but you find it too restrictive. You feel that you cannot do that. So if you cannot practice, you just work for me. It's no, I know it is hard to sit and chant on beads and all that, but you can offer food for the Krishna, or you talk about Krishna, or what. If you have understood, if you have liked this course, you can tell it to somebody, whether they come for the course or not, doesn't matter. You can work for him, you can tell this was nice and this is what we learned and all, you can join and think. So you can work for him. Here this person is working the temple. Okay, so you can do that. So if he says, if you cannot practice anything, then try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state. Just a minute, there's someone else. Hare Krishna. So what he says is, if you cannot practice, you can work for him. So now Krishna is adjusting. He says you work as per your inclination. If you can't, at least you do the work for him, right? And this is known as, and this we saw even the earlier chapters. So option 2. So work for Krishna. Now comes, this is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Then Yet karoshi yet nashni, yet yosi dadasti, yet tapashyasi kaunteya, tat kurusha madharma. So in 11th chapter we saw, no? O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform should be done as an offering unto me. So he says, you do the Nishkama Karma Yoga. Okay. So this is what he says. Now, work for Krishna. Or you can do some seva for the Lord. Okay. Atyad api asakto asi kartum mad yogam ashritaha sarva karma pala tyagam tata kuru yatatmaha. If however you are unable to work in this consciousness, then try to act giving up all the results of your work and try to be self-searching. So, okay, if you cannot give something to him, at least you can give some charity. It will be like giving up your results, giving up your thing, giving charity to people, to the hospital, to the school, or to something, well wishes. That way you will, and that act of giving, will come, so that you won't be holding on to the results of the work and you'll be set. So it will take a long time to reach, but that's also one way of the beginning stage, right? You can do that. Then that is known as Sakama Karma Yoga, where you are not giving everything, but you're giving a little bit. So that. So this give results to a good cause. That was the option 3, right? Now you can't even do that. You can't give time, you can't give the results, you can't work for him, you don't like the result thing. So what next? Shreyo yi jnanam abhyascha jnata dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma pala tyagas tyagat chir anantara. So you see how Krishna is, actually these are stages of devotion, okay? Step by step, and you reach the topmost, right? From Karma Yoga, then you start with the Nishkama Karma, Sakama Karma Yoga, Nishkama Yoga, Sadhana Bhakti, then Ananya Bhakti. But you can't do all that. He says, if you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Of course, better than knowledge is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation and the fruits of action. By renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. So, It says jnana, knowledge, cultivate, or dhyana, meditation, or thing. So option 4, you can look at other process. There's not that you only do this, but it's much better than not doing anything, right? So you can start off if you want. You are trying to cultivate the knowledge, right? So you can start off with that, then little bit of meditation, and slowly you can rise to the one by one at the thing. That is the way the process of bhakti. He is explaining, and he's telling it out. See, he's not telling only that and he's leaving with that. He's telling Arjuna that these are the process. Okay. So, and it is for us to understand that it is, I know it is difficult because it is, we can't think, okay, I cannot do that and leave the spirituality. It's not that. You can, spirituality is not like, everything you should do and then only that is spirit. No, you can start off with the small baby steps. So he's telling you all that. And when he's telling, explaining it is, you should accept it. Yeah, I cannot do it. Let me do it whatever I can. And I will start with my, from whichever approach, okay? And slowly progress. So now this is, that is what it's all about, spiritual path. You cannot do this, you'll get that. Okay. Now he's going to explain about the qualities of a devotee. One who is not envious, but is kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor. We saw, no, the proprietor means you are the master of the everything. But actually, everything is given by the Lord, right? Including the seeds, the food you cultivate, and all that, the air, sunshine, and all, what all is in the material world, it's all given by Him. We might have changed the form, like, you would have built the houses, or you could have built a temple, or you made some experiments, you made them, you have factories and all, but the raw materials or the energy, everything is from Him. Okay. So He is the proprietor, we are not, and we have to be free from false ego. So false ego comes from where? From our identifying ourselves to be the body, and we are here for enjoying this material world. Actually, we are not. And equal both in happiness and distress. But what happens is we say, no, tolerate distress and all, it will go away and all that. Will we say tolerate happiness, saying that it will go away after some time? We will never say that, no? So this is and who's always satisfied and engaged in devotional service with determination, and whose mind and intelligence are in agreement with me, he is very dear to me. So qualities of a devotee he is explaining in the verses 12, 13, 14. Then he says, he for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anxiety, who is steady in happiness and distress, is very dear to me. So we see here Shiva and Parvati is there, and Shiva is narrating Bhagavatam to all the stages. And what we see is, there's a Chitraketu. Chitraketu is a great personality. I think we will, if time permits, we will show a small puppet show of Chitraketu. About him is a lot of things has been given in Canto 6, Srimad Bhagavatam. Here what happens when Shiva is narrating Bhagavatam, Chitraketu is just coming on this airplane. Then he sees Parvati on the lap, and then Shiva is giving the narration. So he laughs. He says how a person can narrate Bhagavatam with his wife on his lap. So he laughs. So Shiva smiles. He understands what intention Chitraketu is telling. But Parvati was upset, and she curses him to be born as a demon in his next birth. But what happens is, the minute he hears that, he doesn't get offended. He could have cursed back, or he could have retaliated. But what he does is, he comes down from his airplane and accepts the curse given by the Devi Parvati, and says, this whatever is given, it is the Lord's hand, is there, Lord's plan. So I accept it. But only thing I want the benediction is, I must be all the time be in the memorandum of always in the memory of Krishna. So, and Parvati is also, I mean, actually she says, she addressed him as a son, but she didn't like the way he talked about Lord Shiva. So she gave him the curse. And in the next birth, he will be born in the demons as a Vritrashura. And that's a nice pastime. And it's very beautifully explained in the Canto 6. Okay. So he is not disturbed by anxiety. And he is steady in happiness and distress. He says, whatever comes, I accept it as the Lord's mercy to him, to me. Okay. So those are the pure devotees. And here, Urvashi is all a crying friend. Same thing is repeated here. And this is none other than Goswamis, 6 Goswamis. In fact, these Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they were earlier as ministers in the Muslim kingdom, okay? And they were very learned. They knew Persian, Sanskrit, Arabic and all that. And they were very wealthy and the top position as a top ministers there, okay? But when they meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they get converted. They just want to be his followers and they give up all their wealth. They had so much of wealth, a boat full of coins that's been given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That described is the wealth they had. 50% of it, they gave it as charity to all the Brahmanas and 25% to all his family, relatives and all that. And 25% they kept as a reserve for any emergencies. In fact, this brother Santana uses that to escape from the prison because the Muslim ruler didn't like. He left 1%, Rupa Goswami, he allowed. But when Sanatana Goswami also wanted to leave his ministership and go away, he renounced. He didn't like it. Then he puts him into the prison. To escape from the prison, Sanatana Goswami uses that money and to Brahma and they come. And what they do, they'll be in Vrindavan. They were asked to write books on Bhakti, devotional work, how to do Bhakti. So they write a lot of books. So and they will, each day they'll be sitting in one tree, in Vrindavan, and they will be focusing only on writing about Bhakti. There's very beautiful books are there, Nectar of Devotion and Bhakti, Nectar of Instruction and all that. So that is the thing. So that's how those were the topmost devotees. And then he says, ye for whom, we saw this, then that. So how they deal with others, what is the reaction, and dealing with the Lord. A devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without case, free from all pains, and who does not strive for some result is very dear to me. So they do not, they're all the time in the Lord, say then whatever it comes, they accept it, and they don't work for any result. So without any care, because they know Krishna will take care of them. So he is describing the extraordinary qualities. And who neither grasps pleasure or grief, who neither laments nor desires, who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, is very dear. So that's how Prahlad was there. Even at 5 years old, he was not lamenting why my father is treating me like this, why he is trying to kill me. He's not, I think he's all the time in the Lord of remembrance, right? So he was not disturbed at all by whatever his father was trying to do to him, right? So he was under. And this is Ambarish Maharaj. He's also another exalted devotee. He was a king, Maharaja, but still he was a true devotee of Vaishnava. And Durvasa Muni couldn't understand how a king, as a king, he could be such an exalted devotee. But he thought only by austerities, by performing yaga, such severe penance only you can become a devotee, he was thinking. But so he comes one day to test this Maharaj. So when during Ekadashi, they do fasting, and the next day they will break the fast before a particular period. Otherwise, he won't get the punya. So he will come at that time and say, we will break the fast together. I'll go have a bath and come. But he will delay it purposely. So the time is going up. So he'll just take a drop of water, Ambarish Maharaj. Then Durvasa Muni comes and says, you didn't wait for me. How you could do such a thing? And he will send a demon to kill him. So Ambarish Maharaj was not disturbed. He just said, whatever you give me, I accept. Thing, Raja, and he will be so calm and self-soothing. But the demon could not touch him because Sudarshan Chakra was there to protect the devotee. So when Durvasa Muni sees the Sudarshan Chakra, he immediately realizes his mistake. He runs actually towards Lord Shiva, then to Brahma. They say, no, you have offended a Vaishnava who is under the protection of Lord Vishnu. We cannot do anything to you. So finally, when he goes to Lord Vishnu, because he was a great sage, he had all the powers. He could go to even to see Lord Vishnu. But Vishnu says, no, he is my devotee. I can't do anything. Only he can do to you. So finally, he'll come back and surrender to Ambarish Maharaj. Then because the Sudarshan Chakrata will be following Durvasa Muni, it wouldn't leave him. Then Ambarish Maharaj prays to the Sudarshan Chakra and asks for forgiveness for the thing. So only then he'll be released. So then it shows that the pure devotee who is equal to friends and who is equipoised in honor, dishonor, heat and cold, who is always free from contamination, always silent, satisfied with anything, doesn't care for any residence, fixed in knowledge, and engaged in devotional service, very dear. So these are the things we learn. A lot of such devotees from our Bhagavatam. It's full of such Bhagavatam pastimes, devotees. And he who follows this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engages himself with faith, making me the supreme goal, is very, very dear to me. So this is Bilva Mangala Thakur, who actually pokes his eyes, because he was so much into sense gratification. He finally finds it very unhappy and he wants to renounce everything. So he goes to that extent of poking his eyes so that he won't be distracted by anything. And he spend his life all the time singing the glories of the Lord. Okay. So this is the thing. That is the devotional service. We saw our personal devotion to Krishna is supreme rather than the impersonal thing. Then he gave us the stages of Bhakti. I know it's Ananya Bhakti, it's very difficult. He says to take up Sadhana Bhakti under us acharyas. Or if you can't do that, Nishkama Bhakti, the results you can renounce. If you can't do that, at least you give some charity and do pious thing, you'll be satisfied. If you can't even do that, at least try to get some knowledge or meditation. Okay. So we saw the qualities of devotees, how their attitude to oneself, how they deal with the others, how they react to the events, whether it's happiness or distress, they deal with the Lord. So we need to, taking back is, we need to adopt the key spiritual practices, as I said, association of devotees, books, scriptures, chanting, deity worship, engage in work for the Lord. And spiritual master says one who can cultivate these can easily cultivate these qualities by being in Krishna consciousness. So we need to surrender to Krishna. See, all the thing is, we are not trying to tell you to stop whatever your practices are there, only to add this Krishna consciousness to your daily life. It will help you a long way. Okay. So when surrender to Krishna, we have talked about it. I don't know whether I said before. Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshisyati vishwaso koprati varanam tata. Atma nikasvi karpanya sadvidat saranagat. This was given by Rupa Goswami. It is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 22, verse 3. So there are 6 divisions of surrender. You accept things which are favorable to devotional service. Reject if it's unfavorable, like, talking on mundane things or things which are not related. Then conviction that Krishna will give you protection. Acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master. full surrender and you to be humble. It's not by thing. So simple process is what they said. God is great and we are part and parcel of him. Therefore, my duty is to serve and surrender. So just a simple thing to take. Vancha kalpatrabhyascha kripa sindhu avidevacha patitam nam pavanebho vaishnavo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I hope you all take to chanting and be happy.